Hey guys, Mrs. Horman. I'm here to explain to you your culminating activity for AP and on-level art history. And so when you log on to Google Classroom, you're going to see that it says culminating activity. Do 522 for seniors, do 68 for underclassmen. And seniors, that's because you're graduating and I need to put your grades in. Underclassmen, you have a little more time, so we're not in quite such a rush. When you open this next, these directions will be here. It says, look at this, and this is an article from My Modern Met about basically the same thing that I'm asking you to do, which is recreating an artwork. Here is the actual beginning of all of this, which is when the Getty Museum in California challenged people to recreate it. And then here's this article from Forbes magazine that's really good because it has a lot of links to like Instagram and Twitter and things where people have put stuff. This is where you'll put your project when the time comes. So when we open this up and we look at the document that is the assignment, it basically says, you know, you're trying to do this. It's called a tableau vivant, a living picture. And the reason you're doing it is because you really have to consider the important details of an artwork in order to recreate it. And when you do that, it really helps you to make a real connection with that artwork. The third reason that we do it is because I love them and they're silly and wonderful and I think they're fabulous. So it's about creating a living picture. You are not to tell me what you're doing unless you have to ask me a question. And then it's a slight sort of thing, which is you don't have to tell me anything if you're doing 150 images from our text, from our curriculum. But say you want to do an alternate Van Gogh. The Van Gogh we're supposed to have is Starry Night, but say you want to do Wheat Field with Crows or Sunflowers, and you ask me, can I do that? You just ask me, can I do an alternate Van Gogh? And I'll say yes. Okay. Please make sure you keep your thing PG. Some of our items have nudes in them. No, you cannot be nude in your picture. You may need to get your family involved to help you a little bit. That's okay. And you're going to need to gather your props together. I'm not going to have a sign up. However, if you know that you really want to do Van Gogh Starry Night and somebody else really wants to do Van Gogh Starry Night, either you can discuss it amongst yourselves and decide if one of you is going to back out, or you can just try to get into a contest to see who's going to have the best Van Gogh Starry Night. Okay. Make sure you think about things like your costumes, your makeup, any lighting. Make sure that you think about that. Make sure that it's not so dark that I can't see it. Make sure you read the background. Please don't just take a picture, you know, up against the wall in your bedroom where the wall doesn't make sense with your picture. Okay. You can recreate the work in an alternate media or an interpretation of the original. Van Gogh did his Starry Night in oil. You want to do, you know, it on the Paint app, you are welcome to do that. You know, think about our classroom. In our classroom, we had the Birth of Venus ceiling tile, the 3 views of Mount Fuji ceiling tiles, so you should be good. Make sure you're thinking about it. Keep it simple-ish, but don't make it look like you didn't spend any time, okay? This is not about taking a picture of a flower and saying this is a Georgia O'Keeffe. You really need to make sure that you're honoring the spirit of the assignment. You have to turn in your assignment on a PowerPoint Google slide. And it says right here, your name on the first one, your image with no text on it on the second slide, and the original image that you used to recreate on the third slide, okay? It has to be recognizable. Have to be able to click on it and say, oh, I know what that is, okay? It has to honor the spirit of the original. It has to be recognizable and honor the original one. It has to be appropriate in its use of props and background, and it needs to have some attention to detail. The really important details need to be present. You don't get out of it just because we're doing a fun thing. Now, When you scroll down a little bit, you're going to see that on our Weebly page, there is a whole section for other famous recreations. So I'll go over here to our Weebly page, and it says here, culminating activity. And these are some that are not from our content area, except for this one, because I don't want you to know. So this is Sea of Fog by Caspar David Friedrich, American Gothic, Christina's World, the Venus de Milo. This is Hagia Sophia painted on the inside of a duck egg, which is really cool. Lady with an Ermine. This is Magritte, Mona Lisa, American Gothic again. This is a piece by Picasso, Jackson Pollock. And this is a Van Gogh done with something that's called sticks. They're like little plastic sticks that you put together. This is a Van Gogh sunflowers done out of, that's all vegetables. Very cool. Okay, so you see some of those. So there's that. Also on our assignment page are some images that you can look at. And these are some that are, you know, a little different. So let me show you this one. A student wanted to do a woodcut, and she was reading Their Eyes Were Watching God. And she asked me if I would be okay with her doing one that was based on a book she was reading. And I said, yes. So there you go. This is, as you can see, The Great Wave combined with Van Gogh's Starry Night. And all of these are in my house, by the way. They're all framed and hanging in my house. This is a torn paper collage of Van Gogh's Wheatfield with Crows. This is a votive figure that a student made out of clay. This is a really beautiful, I can't get it right with the lighting because of, you know, the reflection in the glass, but as you see, this is the female deity. This is a modern painting called Shibboleth, a modern artwork called Shibboleth that we haven't done yet. And the thing in the background is called Pure Land, again, which we haven't done yet, but this is a combination of 3 works of art. This is Travelers Among Mountains and Streams painted on a tile. This is a beautiful combination piece of Darky Town Rebellion, you haven't done yet, and Turner's Slave Ship. This one is outside of our curriculum, but I was asked, this is Rembrandt's Storm on the Sea of Galilee, painted on a plate. Sorry. This is another torn paper Wheatfield with Crows. I have 2. This is a sample of a torn paper, Cézanne's Mount Sainte-Victoire. This is Starry Night done on Microsoft Paint. And here are a couple that I stole from the internet. So this is Microsoft Paint also, but this is like a Star Wars piece, but look at the kinds of colors and things that you could accomplish if you have Microsoft Paint. This is a watercolor done in an Impressionist style. So you can use modern materials to look old. And here is an Impressionist style. It looks like Mont Saint-Victoire a little bit to me in colored pencil. So here are some samples. I might put this one on there, but it's really cool to look at. So this is a former student, and you look at this and you say, oh my gosh, that's the Kaaba. What did they build the Kaaba out of? She built the Kaaba out of cake. She made a cake Kaaba, and then we all ate it, and it was wonderful. So if you like to bake, I've had people make the Kaaba. I've had people make, I had somebody make the Tlatilco figure out of cake. I had somebody make anthropomorphic steel out of cake. I had someone do Narcissus Garden out of mochi. So there's lots of really cool things that you can do. And then please don't think that I'm being mean to this student. He does know that I use this as a sample of what not to do. Okay, so here's Stonehenge. Hopefully you're all laughing right now. And here's Graham Cracker Stonehenge. Now, The reason that I show this to you is when he presented this in front of the class, part of the thing that I said to him was, this is not necessarily a bad idea. The presentation is wrong. If he had taken these same graham crackers outside and put them in the grass on a sunny day where you would have gotten the graham cracker and the grass, it could have been a solid project. No, you cannot do this for your project. So I show this to you because this is where I'm talking about the presentation matters. The thinking it through and making it look like you're honoring the original and being thoughtful about what you're doing is important, okay? And so I want you to think about that when you are creating your piece of work. I do keep all of them for years and years and years and years. And so it's important that, you know, I like to go back and look at them and say, oh my gosh, I remember how cool that was. Or, oh my gosh, I remember that thing. So I think that what I want you to do is have fun with it, be creative, look at all the different materials that there are. This was a woodcut. I know most of you do not have access to a woodcut right now. This is acrylic paint. This is torn pages of a magazine. This is a photograph that was digitally with photography, and you have photo editing software, you may absolutely do that. You know, this is paint, this is torn paper, this is torn paper, this is Microsoft Paint, this is Microsoft Paint. These are watercolors for those of you who are artists out there, and these are colored pencils. So have a good time with this. Look at some of the samples that are here. And when you're done, make sure you go into Google Forms and submit your final draft. I'm going to be having an open question session on Friday. So just make sure that you look over this and think about whether or not you have any questions or anything like that for me before Friday. And that is the end of this screencast.